Burn Live, what's up? Y'all in the building. Welcome to another Burn Live show. Murray Wongley keeping you connected. Hashtagging these red eyes, changing the viewer's eye red, keeping underage smoking off social media. Yeah. Sitting here with friends and family, y'all, on Facebook and YouTube. Sitting here with friends and family starting a cannabis station. I highly appreciate all my friends, all my family stopping through. I highly appreciate it. What up, ladies and gentlemen? How y'all doing? Welcome to another Burn Live show, man. I really hope this works out good for us. Hold on 2 seconds, y'all. Hold on 2 more seconds. Yeah, I didn't get everything totally set up like I thought I did. I thought I had everything set up. Oh yes, y'all. I'm on the plane. I'm on my roads, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all didn't know, these are very nice. Burn slow. My producer, you know me when it comes to trying to look for. When it comes to looking for that new blunt, that new taste, that new thing. You know me, I'm quick to say that a blunt or a shell or something is nasty. I'm quick to say that. I can honestly say that these aren't nasty at all. And I just got booed. So I do got some good new features that I got helping me out. Got some good features to help me out, y'all. Hopefully these new features will help me out, make the show a little bit more interesting when we get into it. Y'all know what we do. I'm here to bring y'all receipts. It's Monday. It's Monday. Please hit that like, subscribe, hit that bell. If you didn't get that notification, please hit that. Let everybody know that we definitely in the building. You know? You know? Oh yeah. So yeah, if y'all didn't know, I'm really just trying out my so-called notifications to make sure that they all work good. Other than that, sometimes we might have to sound that alarm, let her know that we really here. That we really here, and that we're here to make some noise. Hey, everything works good. I almost thought about getting into that freestyle. Y'all know how I do when I get into the freestyle, but you know, nah. Today has been such a weird and awkward day. I almost thought about not going live today. I was a little under the weather earlier with some things that was going on with my job, and I had to, you know, had to man up, had to snap up out of it. I was like, I can't do it. I got to sit here with my friends and family and do this show because something that I am dedicated to, something that no matter what goes on in my afterlife or behind me, I will always dedicate my time to my podcast. You know what I'm saying? This is something I love to do, something shine. We also built a Discord too. Y'all, let me get into some of these stories that I'm actually looking up as we speak. I just wanted that. Y'all know me. I want that music playing a little bit, just a tad bit. I love that intro when that beat just be banging. I'm almost gonna see if I can get that music to play a little bit better in my background. Well, maybe not thoroughly in my background like how I want it, but at least in my background to where it is capable for me and you to listen to and enjoy and all that good stuff. We finna go with this that just happened. They just got uploaded 22 minutes from St. Louis.
Downtown residents are tired of the violence happening outside their windows. Whether it's a stronger curfew or some kind of law change, they say something has to change. Our Laura Barczewski continues our live team coverage. She talked with the people living amongst the chaos. Laura.
Mike, residents and business owners told me this afternoon they are just exhausted after this continued violence. Business owners didn't even want to go on camera because of how it's affecting them, but residents did, saying police alone are not the only ones who can change this. Jordan lives on Washington Avenue, close to the office building where almost a dozen teens were injured and one was killed during a shooting.
It's sad that it came to that, but it's kind of where it's at.
This is nothing new.
One day people are coming out to leave at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and there's just armed teenagers in our lobby. You know, it's just a large band of armed, kids. And, you know, what do you do at that point?
But something has to change. St. Louis police say they're doing what they can by increasing their presence downtown and enforcing the curfews.
So if it takes us, detaining these juveniles, inconveniencing parents or guardians to have to come and physically pick them up, and then on top of that, potentially be issued a summons where they have to deal with the city councilor's office and potential fines. That's how serious this is.
Arnold Stricker with Citizens for a Greater Downtown St. Louis says he's noticed more officers on the streets.
We appreciate what the chief is doing as it relates to that. More about that is they're trying to curb some of these things. And maybe that's why he mentioned some of these things have moved inside, because they're dealing with the things that are going on outside.
Jordan thinks the curfew enforcement isn't enough.
Really, I think we just need to crack down on parents. It's kind of like if my dog got off the leash and he ran across the street and bit somebody, I'd be financially liable for any damage that was done there.
Stricker says some bills currently in front of the Board of Aldermen are part of the solution, but they need to be stronger.
It needs to go back to leadership taking some really progressive kinds of action in including law enforcement in their solutions and including not watering down things that we already have.
The city is working to have several rec centers, the Wall and Marquette rec centers, open later on Fridays and Saturdays. That would be 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for kids 15 and under, and 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. for people 16 and up. That would go all the way through August, so they have somewhere to go. Reporting live from downtown St. Louis, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
One solution to large parties in downtown is to regulate short-term rentals. Tomorrow morning, St. Louis Board of Aldermen Committee will discuss a board bill. That's Board Bill 33. It would require a permit to operate a short-term rental in the city. Police Chief Robert Tracy is pleading with Missouri lawmakers to create laws to prevent juveniles from carrying guns out in public. Congresswoman Cori Bush is pointing fingers at Republicans in Jefferson City, calling for gun laws, but said this is about enforcement.
I don't believe that police should go around trying to stop people and trying to take guns from people. That is not, because we have enough problems with stop and frisk in this country. And so it can easily turn into something we do not want.
I think that she's not trying to actually solve the problem. If you look at what happened in the city of New York, which can be a great example for how you should do things, stop and frisk saved lives.
The Federal Youth Handgun Safety Act prohibits unsupervised minors from possessing a handgun or bullets, but Missouri Republicans passed a law to sue police if they try to enforce federal laws or partner with federal law enforcement here.
This is 5 on your side.
That needs to change.
Focused on you.
Already, we
Right
already
now at
see
4,
that
nearly
needs
a
to
dozen
change.
teenagers are recovering in the hospital after a weekend mass shooting on Washington.
Now, basically, she just want to get rid of guns. That's not going to help do anything. It's not going to stop nothing. What you need, and not curfew. I did see a story of a guy that's actually having late night rec center open, and I thought that was a beautiful idea. I didn't think it was smart that he showed it completely off to everybody like that. I'm just being honest with you. I really didn't think that was very smart, because you know what I'm saying, people that want to do good is going to do good. People that going to want to do bad is going to find the good, and people that ain't going to stick up for themselves to do bad upon. And when you have situations like that, you're going to get this type of outcome. Not to say that it's a bad outcome, but I remember when I came up and they had curfews, it didn't work that well. You know what I'm saying? People still wanted to do things. You know how you got to be out of the park after dark. Those are one of the requirements. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different requirements that you do go through. And when you have these type of deals and ordains and stuff that you go through, it makes it hard for you to find things for kids to do. Flat out. What we need to do, and there's no real suggestion, is find a way to make things affordable. So that's dealing with the economy. That's dealing with capitalism. Now, people will hear me say that, I'm like,
Downtown
that ain't got
residents
nothing
are
to do with these
tired of
damn
the violence
kids. And yes, it does. Because if the parents cannot afford to send their kids anywhere, what do you expect us to do? All right. I guess we're going to go to this. Dude, it's like every day, bro.
So they took over. Now, you know, it's interesting when you say that they pass through different jurisdictions. Does that matter in terms of who's following, or are they just taking instructions from that particular watch commander? I mean, does it necessarily mean that it's in Riverside now, so now the Riverside vehicles have to take over?
So yes and no. I mean, they will, because it's a joint agency, right? If this was a different agency chasing, and CHP could have said, we don't really want it, but because it's CHP chasing, they're for sure going to hand it off.
And it seems like they're keeping quite a distance here too, right? They do approach to a certain point, but they're keeping this distance pretty much consistently throughout this pursuit here. And what we saw was maybe one or two, I think there's 4 CHP cruisers behind this driver. And again, traffic looking pretty clear here.
Every other day,
10
every
freeway
other day
westbound,
that I go
92
live,
Oak Valley
there's
Parkway,
probably
to
some
6
type
Oak
of
No, I know
car
people have
chase
different.
going on
Sometimes they want to get different eyes
in LA.
just
That's
to remain
bad.
fresh.
That's sad. That's bad. That's not cool. And when you defund the police, dang, did y'all just see that? I got a bald spot. I see that. Well, basically, what y'all see is defunding of the police officers. If you don't believe it, if you don't understand it, if you don't get it, when you defund the police and the police ain't got to go do as much, this is what happens. Let's check this story out.
Live breaking news. Be advised they heard 20 rapid shots. There's multiple callers. Security advised they saw people ducking and running.
Right away to that breaking news, multiple shooting scenes in the heart of San Francisco. Gunfire erupts across the street from Pier 39, and a rolling gun battle ends along the Embarcadero. The chaos coming on a busy Father's Day Sunday. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dion Lim. You're watching ABC 7 News at 11. Right away, here is what we know right now. 2 shootings were reported at about 7 p.m. Police say the first shooting scene happened at Beach and Stockton, right across the street from Pier 39. Multiple sources say 2 cars were exchanging gunfire as they chased after each other. Then, shortly after, another shooting scene happened on the Embarcadero at Howard. Police are only confirming
Howard
at least
Terminal.
2 people were hit tonight. We do have live team coverage for you as we work to get you the very latest information. Let's begin now with ABC 7 News reporter J.R. Stone at the Embarcadero scene, and still very active at last check.
It certainly is, Dion. This area along the Embarcadero has been closed off with yellow crime scene tape for at least 4 hours. And as we pan off of me right now, you can see some of those detectives, but it's not just detectives. We are awaiting word from the police chief, who should now be speaking any minute. Detectives working along the Embarcadero Sunday night, where evidence markers were scattered everywhere.
It sounded like backfire from an like a car engine, and then all of a sudden you heard pop, 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 and it didn't stop. It went pop, 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 like 20 to 25 times.
That from a woman eating in this area with her family along the Embarcadero. Police confirmed that at least 2 people were shot. Witnesses tell us those victims appeared to have both been in this car, seen being chased by a white sedan.
I can tell that he's for surely been shot. And then when I looked at the car crash and the bullet holes, I was like, oh, yeah, this was a whole thing.
Our friend who was in the military is like, that's gunshots. Get down, get down.
We were like just ordering our food, and then we heard like the gunshots, and I kind of thought it was like from the car. And then my mother like looked.
I didn't mean to pause it on her smiling, but to tell a story and you smiling about it, you smiling about the situation, not understanding. A friend had to tell her that, hey, these are gunshots. I have training. I have heard. With more training comes more being alert. I always say this, me personally, it's a lot of people I know that don't really pay attention to their surroundings. Until it's already escalated or dramatic or already in your face. We need not to be doing that. That is dangerous. That is, you know what I'm saying? I can't expect everybody to have the IQ of knowing their surroundings like everybody else. Everybody is different. I totally understand. It's still, to me, very, very scary when you sit up there and you can honestly say that, yeah, this is what we are not looking for. I did not know that was going to happen. Did you not hear the small of the, especially when it's arguing, and you be like, you didn't hear that arguing, that, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, arguing always start with that little bit of yelling. What's up? What's going on? Woo, 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 woo. Then it get louder. And people don't pay attention to it get extremely loud. And then you be like, damn, you didn't hear that? That is the part that be amazes me. I'm actually trying to look for smaller little stories, not the big dramatic ones. I was just looking for a small little bitty story real quick. I think I found one for us. I think I found one for us.
Tonight, the desperate search in the North Atlantic for a missing submersible near the Titanic. The U.S. and Canadian Coast Guard scouring for a sub carrying 5 people. Contact lost for more than 24 hours as the tourist vessel made its way toward the Titanic. 12,000 feet down, rough seas, rain, and fog hampering the search and rescue efforts for those on board, including a billionaire businessman and explorer. Late details just in tonight. Also tonight, the high-stakes summit between China's President Xi Jinping and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. A chance to reset rising tensions that have only gotten worse since the U.S. shot down a spy balloon. Our one-on-one interview with the Secretary of State. The nonstop threat of tornadoes, 1 dead and almost 24 injured as multiple tornadoes tear through Mississippi. The search for survivors. A weekend of mass shootings, some of them deadly. But when it happened twice last month in another country, they took quick and decisive action. Richard Engel is there. The new boom in building, not to buy, but to rent. What's behind it? In our series, Priced Out. On Juneteenth, celebrations across America. And a field of dreams reborn as a testament to the past.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening. And
That's how good I need to get. Okay. That's how good I need to get. That was, shit. Y'all get that applause. Yeah. That was, when I say I need to, I was trying to step my game up and do that too. Yeah, that's what I meant. You know what I'm saying? When I need to come in and come with the news and come with everything. I need to step, man. When I know I need to step my game. But there is that one. I don't want to hear everything. Let's keep going.
welcome. Tonight, near the site of one of the 20th century's worst ocean disasters, a new undersea drama is unfolding. Right now, the U.S. Coast Guard leading the urgent search for a group of modern-day adventurers after the submersible carrying them to the Titanic shipwreck lost contact with the surface yesterday, about an hour and 45 minutes into their journey. 5 people are on board the vessel, which is used to carry paying passengers to see the Titanic up close. The search happening about 350 miles off the coast of Newfoundland in waters more than 2 miles deep. Tonight, the company that runs the deep sea charters, Ocean Gate Expeditions, saying in a statement, our entire focus is on the crew members and their families. Tom Costello has late-breaking developments for us.
U.S. and Canadian Coast Guard ships are at this hour rushing to the North Atlantic as 2 U.S. C-130 planes survey the vast ocean surface for any signs of a private submersible and the 5 people on board. Last seen Sunday morning as it descended to survey the wreck of the Titanic.
During the course of the dive, they lost communications, and we have not had communications with the submersible since then.
The 21-foot submersible named Titan, made of titanium and carbon fiber, is owned by Ocean Gate, an operator of small subs for research, film production, and tourist trips to the Titanic for $250,000. On board, a pilot and 4 passengers, including billionaire adventurer Hamish Harding, who'd taken a submersible to the Mariana Trench and flown in space on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. On his Instagram account Sunday, he signed his name on the logo as he announced he'd be diving to the Titanic. His company later tweeted 4 a.m. start this morning on the Titanic Mission 5. The sub had a successful launch.
That is a hell of a bucket list. That's a bucket list right there. To see the Titanic or go gaze at the stars and the moon. That's something you should put on your bucket list. Real shit.
Launch, and Hamish is currently diving. Today, Ocean Gate said our entire focus is on the crew members in the submersible and their families. We are working toward the safe return of the crew members. The CEO told our Seattle King 5 last August he caters to Titanic enthusiasts.
We have a number of people who come with us, sometimes referred to as Titaniacs, people who have just been consumed by the Titanic, and it was just great to take them down.
The Titanic rests at treacherous depths, 12,500 feet below the surface. 1,500 people died when she sank in 1912. The missing sub was only supposed to be gone for 6 to 8 hours, with 96 hours of reserve oxygen. Already, Canadian P-8 search planes have dropped sonar buoys on the rough seas, listening for the sub in a deep, vast expanse of ocean. Are they listening for voices? What can they pick up?
We're hoping that they can pick up any unusual sounds, maybe tapping on the hull or voices or those types of things, any signs of the vessel there in the water. And so that's why we've really pressed in with the capabilities that we have.
Now, Tom, as I understand it, submersibles are meant to dive much deeper than, say, a typical Navy sub. If the Coast Guard can locate it under the surface, can they get to it?
They can't. That's the problem. They don't have the deep sea rescue capabilities that the Navy has. So both the U.S. and the Canadian Navies are rushing those assets to the scene, as well as contacting private companies who have those capabilities. But if they find this crew, it's going to be a very, very challenging rescue operation, and the clock is ticking, Lester.
All right, Tom
Interesting.
Costello, thank you. Let's turn now to that critical meeting in China today between President Xi Jinping and...
All right, y'all. Anybody going diving? Now that we see, now I'm definitely not going diving, knowing that they ain't even got the equipment to go down there and help rescue us and get us up out of there and do what they need to do just in case that does happen. Well, I'm not. That's, you're signing your life over. I'm not signing my life over. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can do. Yeah, this is what I wanted to see.
Across the South, it's the unforgiving sound of summertime severe weather striking in the dead of night. Its latest target, Lewin, Mississippi.
Whoa, that was big.
Overnight, a reported tornado tore through this community an hour outside of Jackson, where people were rushed from their mangled homes on stretchers. Daylight reveals the true scope of the devastation. Trees torn to shreds, homes now unrecognizable. All of it leaving more than 24 people injured and claiming at least one life. 67-year-old Georgine Hayes.
She's a good person, good church person,
Her cousin Lester lives right across the street. He helped pull her from the rubble.
Her house, where the black Jeep at,
right there.
It was right there. It's gone now. Ain't nothing there.
So it's completely
It's completely gone.
It's the latest in a deadly storm system sweeping across the South and Central Plains, producing at least 17 confirmed tornadoes in just 4 days. Among the towns hit, Perryton, Texas, where the storms destroyed downtown and this mobile home community, killing 3 people. Oscar Hernandez lost his 4 businesses in a matter of minutes. He spoke to NBC's Priscilla Thompson.
It's hard. It's really hard. All the loss, all the people that lost their lives.
Severe weather continues to sweep the South. Today, a confirmed tornado along the Florida Panhandle and flash flooding in Alabama, an ominous sign of what's to come.
And across the region, hundreds of thousands of people remain without power in some of the very same places that are seeing triple-digit highs, making cleanup like this all the more difficult with threats of more tornadoes tonight. Lester?
All right, Blaine, thank you. And we have breaking news tonight about the first named storm in the Atlantic.
I wanted to see that because I want to find that other story that's up in here. I'm gonna go to it. I guess this is the whole story right here.
If it feels like you are being tracked, it may be because you are at red lights, going in and out of the office, on your smartphone. But what if you could be tracked seeking a legal abortion simply by your license plate?
I don't think people realize how much of their personal data is collected, that their whereabouts are tracked.
That's why Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias backs what he says is a first-in-the-nation bill to outlaw sharing or selling license plate data for women seeking abortions.
This is real? This ain't real. I'm gonna rewind this.
That their whereabouts are tracked.
That's why Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias backs what he says is a first-in-the-nation bill to outlaw sharing or selling license plate data for women seeking abortions.
Who has access to license plate?
Why is it only abortion? And I'm glad this first, you know what I'm saying? Now we finna learn something about this license plate game. But okay.
Plate trackers?
A number of private and public entities have this personal sensitive data.
Data he fears could be weaponized as some states try to criminalize helping someone get an abortion, even in a state where it is legal. 3 other states have passed laws aimed at protecting health data from such efforts.
When they travel, whether it's to an abortion clinic or the grocery store, we need to make sure this data is protected.
Illinois Right to Life Executive Director Mary Kate Zander opposes abortion.
Do you think this bill is necessary?
I think it's unnecessary. They're trying to create a narrative around what the pro-life movement may or may not be doing.
She says her organization is not trying to criminalize women seeking the procedure.
Is the Right to Life movement tracking license plates of women?
No.
Absolutely
not.
Has it done that in the past?
No.
Do you see it doing that in the future?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's just not a tactic that we would use.
With a quarter of their patients now from out of state, Illinois Planned Parenthood CEO Jennifer Welch is not convinced.
Patients need to know that when they come for health care, that information won't be shared with anybody, law enforcement, activists, anybody else.
Data collection and privacy.
Totally understand. Whatever. But what evidence do you have? Who even started this? Who? Okay.
A new frontier in the nation's fight over abortion rights. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Chicago.
Still to come here tonight, the rush to rent, why more people are saying yes to signing a lease and how it's shaking the foundation of housing in America. Trying to buy a home these days is a real struggle between high mortgage rates and low inventory. Many are finding themselves priced out. But as CNBC's Diana Olick explains, it's fueling a boom in so-called build-to-rent properties.
Single mom Robin Ashford had planned to buy a home near Columbia, South Carolina last year, but mortgage rates suddenly shot sharply higher.
I found out that I wasn't going to have as much buying power as I would have about 2 or 3 years ago. And my monthly mortgage payments were too much that I could handle.
So instead, Ashford turned to this brand new community built specifically for renters.
I don't have to worry about taxes on the home. I don't have to worry about if something breaks. It's the landlord's responsibility.
They have large open floor plans.
And an increasing share of the landlords are now big builders, like Bruce McNeelage's Nashville-based Kinlock Partners, as more Americans decide to rent not only by necessity, but by choice.
We've had a societal shift to people wanting to rent because they want a maintenance-free lifestyle, or they want the ability to move to a city and just give the keys back to the landlord at the end of the lease.
Builders put up 68,000 new single-family rental homes last year, a 31% increase over the year before, according to John Burns Research.
I think it's at the early stages of being a very, very big business, just like the apartment market is.
Burns counted 708 build-to-rent communities coming soon across the U.S., entire communities of single-family homes built not for sale, but specifically for rent.
The people that want a home but have now been priced out due to rising prices and then rising mortgage rates are saying, well, I want a home, I'm going to rent for a while. So it's created more demand for the rental homes.
And renters are demanding more of the...
This is a good idea. This is smart. This is what we need more of in our society. On me. I'm glad they started this. I knew when I first seen this article pop up, I was like, something about this is catching my eye. And I'm glad I actually went and sought out this and shared this with y'all. I hope y'all share this with other people who is looking for a home, who thought about buying a home, and maybe we can find a way for us to get into this rental. So yet again, it's easier, a little bit stress-free. You still get the 2, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom that you're looking for. You get the space that you're looking for, and you can go on about your business. This is beautiful. Excellent. On me.
Builders, amenities like pools, fitness centers, dog parks, of course, on-site maintenance, and as in this community, bigger backyards. But all that comes at a price. The average rent here is about $2,200 a month, and single-family rents across the nation are rising.
That's something that I do need to think about, because trying to save for a home while paying high rent, it's hard.
For now, she's enjoying the new home, even if it's not her new home. For NBC News, Diana Olick, Blythewood, South Carolina.
When we come back here tonight.
Like I said, it's rent to own. $2,200 a month? Okay. That's all I can say is okay. But that's a good idea. I still think that's a good idea. I think that's a very good investment for real schmack. This is the time where I need that music in the background, like do 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 do. All right. I did have a somewhat of a special story. Yeah. This is how I'm gonna lead. Oh yeah, job was closed because it was a meeting and stuff. But this is a special one. I want to lead off the second half.
If you get elected.
This is what I'm gonna call.
Mr. President, thanks for the time.
This is what I'm gonna call leading off the second half. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know we had to get into some type of politics. We got into some news just to break some things down. You know what I'm saying? To see some things that are going on. Heavy bad wind, storms, a lot of unsensitive, a lot of mass shootings been going on in the last 2 to 3 days, 4 days that's been going on in the world. So let's get a little deeper into the politics and stuff like that real quick. Starting off the second half. Y'all know this is the Burn Live Show, man. Hit that bell. Oops. Hit that bell. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button if y'all like what y'all see when y'all get into this. Let's go.
Thank you. You know, I've asked this question, the same first question, to all the candidates I've interviewed this year, and that is this. What do you think is the most important issue facing the country right now?
So many, so important, but we have to straighten out the economy. We're going to do that through inflation. We have to straighten out our border where we have millions of people pouring in, and we're going to do that very quickly. I had the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the most unsafe, I think, anywhere in the world. There's never been anything like it. We have to strengthen up our military. Giving $85 billion to Afghanistan didn't exactly help, but we have to strengthen up our military, get the woke out of our military, and basically respect all over the world. We don't have it anymore. We had tremendous respect 3 years ago. We don't have respect anymore. They don't listen to us. They don't care about us. They just don't do what we want them to do and what they have to do, especially since we make life very good for many countries. And we have to get that respect back. And if we don't, we've got some big problems.
We asked viewers to send in questions on social media. We had a ton of responses. Here's one of them. Erica tweets this. What is the first thing you will do to turn this country around if you get elected?
Well, I do two simultaneously. I'd start drilling. We have the most liquid gold under our feet oil than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia.
I got a friend that's in the audience that talks about that key phrase that Trump just said right there. He said dig. He didn't just say dig for oil. He said dig for gold. I said, I'm gonna have you rewind because I know my friend heard that and like, that's what we need to be talking about.
To turn this country around if you get elected?
Well, I do two simultaneously. I'd start drilling. We have the most liquid gold under our feet oil than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. And that's going to bring down the pressure on inflation. And we're going to have very little inflation very soon. We had virtually none when I was president. And second, that close up the border, because we can't have prisoners and people from mental institutions coming into our country. They're emptying out from all over the world, not just from the 3 or 4 countries we talk about, the neighboring countries all over the world. They're coming into our country at levels that nobody's ever seen before, Brett, and we have to stop it. And they are empty.
We have plenty of presidents. No president has really came to us and talked to us and brought a solution to us to fix our economy by getting that gold back up. And I was told and taught that we don't have no gold. And maybe because of the simple fact that we don't have no gold, and obviously I will be corrected, because if I'm wrong, I will be corrected. Somebody out there would love to correct me, whatever. Maybe we ain't got no gold because we ain't dug in the right spots, in the right places, or we ain't dug deep enough, or once we start realizing that we did have gold out there, and it was deep and it was thick, maybe the government cease digging for gold. Because true indeed, you still do see people out there on a little gold rush. But he said to fix our economy. And then, like I said, I got a person that watched my show that talks about gold and fixing the economy, who got the gold, and Gaddafi back in the 90s was going to try to get rid of the American currency by the gold. Now, who would have known? The average citizen don't know that there's probably gold up under their property. Well, not their property if they don't own it, but for those who own their property, that there's probably gold up under there. We probably sitting on, we probably are. I don't know. It makes me definitely wants to start telling my crew, and me personally, I am going to start doing more investment into this gold. I knew about it, but I did slack up off of it doing research upon it. And so, yes, I am going to start doing a little bit more research. And so I can bring you more information, especially if it's going to help you and me out, anybody that's watching this. If it's going to help us out, exactly what I'm going to do.
Emptying out their prisons and they're emptying out their mental institutions and insane asylums into the U.S. And we're not a dumping ground. I would stop it immediately and get a lot of the bad ones out. We'd get them out very quickly.
Fox viewers were able to watch your speech here at Bedminster.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom.
The day of your arrest and
can you believe it?
Federal
arrest by my opponent.
Appearance in federal court in Miami.
Right.
And your explanation of the Presidential Records Act and your defense, how you and others believe that that applies here. Obviously, you know, other legal experts, your Attorney General Bill Barr, they do not think that that applies to handling classified national security and defense materials. But that legal battle aside, I just want to ask you a couple of specifics. Why did you have this very sensitive national security defense documents, like the war plans for a strike on Iran?
So like every other president, I take things out. And in my case, I took it out pretty much in a hurry, but people packed it up and we left. And I had clothing in there. I had all sorts of personal items in there, much stuff. And by the way, when Bill Barr, who's, you know, a coward, Bill Barr was a coward. Bill Barr didn't do what he was supposed to do. I fired him and he has great hatred. And that's okay, because some people do. And some people love me very much. He didn't resign. I asked him, give me a letter immediately, because he didn't have the courage to go after so many different things. And you and I have discussed it before, but he was a coward. And he obviously doesn't like me too much. And there are a lot of people that don't. And there are a lot of people that feel just the opposite.
But on the specific on the
let me just
documents.
explain.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of things in there. I will go through those boxes. I have to go through those boxes. I take out personal things. As far as the levels and all, everything was declassified because I had the right to declassify. You want to talk about a mess? Take a look at Biden, where he's got 1,850 boxes. He has boxes stored in Chinatown in D.C. He has boxes stored at Penn Center, and he has boxes under his Corvette and around his Corvette sitting in a garage for years where it was very seriously classified. I have every right to have those boxes. This is purely a Presidential Records Act. This is not a criminal thing. In fact, the New York Times of all had a story just the other day that the only way NARA could ever get this stuff, this back, would be please, could we have it back?
And they
please,
asked for that.
because they have no. We
They
were
did ask
talking.
for it.
No, and
They said,
I gave
can you
them
give the
some,
documents back?
and we were talking.
And then they said they went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
Which
back.
they've never done before.
Right. And
in
but
all
why not
fairness-
just hand them over then?
Because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal things out. I don't want to hand that over to NARA yet. And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but
I've been
according to
very,
the
very
indictment,
busy.
you then tell this aide to move to other locations after telling your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send boxes over, I have to take all of my things out. These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things, golf shirts, clothing, pants, shoes. There were many things. I would say
Iran war plans?
much more, not that I know of, but everything was declassified. And Biden did.
Skip on ahead here.
Happen, no.
But that's
No.
why you wanted the document.
I don't think I've ever seen a document from Milley. Milley, frankly, was incompetent. The last one I'd want to attack, she'll do.
But they can't handle the scandals or the controversies or the name calling or the vitriol. What do you say to that voter who's worried that that all leads to a general election loss?
So based on the polls, I'm leading Biden by a lot. Based on the polls, I'm leading all of the Republicans by a lot, by 40 points and more. Right now, I have the best polls I've ever had. People see this stuff for what it is.
The best show on earth. Getting me views. That's what most people would say and think. I was just doing this shit for views. Where's that other one? Yeah. But they don't make this easy any easier. That's dope. All right, those are old. We're not gonna go look through those. I ain't think they were gonna go that old. Did anybody see the video of the bear that swam the shore?
We are going to go out live here to Prescott, Arizona, getting an update here from officials on a deadly bear attack. Let's listen right here on Live Now from Fox.
So received a 911 call, as a matter of fact, multiple 911 calls about a man being mauled by a bear up here in the Groom Creek area. YCSO deputies and Prescott PD responded, and when they arrived on scene, they did in fact find a man who has now been identified as 66-year-old Stephen Jackson from Tucson as having been deceased, and also the bear that attacked him is also deceased. What we have found thus far is that we believe that this was an unprovoked bear attack by this bear for a gentleman who was up here building a cabin, and he was in his campsite. He's been there for a while. This was not unusual for him to be sitting there. In the meantime, Game and Fish was called. And so what I'm going to do on the details of what we know so far from witness statements and others is turn it over to Sheriff Rhodes, and then Game and Fish will be able to answer some questions about the bear and their investigation as well. So any questions before that?
Oh, your name.
KRISTIN GREENE.
Are you looking for the spelling of Stephen? What was the question?
V or PH. I believe it's a V, but I'll have to check for that. I'll check that for sure. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn it over to Sheriff Rhodes.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for waiting patiently. This is a very unique situation, and I just want to lead off by saying we're so very saddened by the loss of Mr. Jackson in this way. This is a very tragic situation, and as Ms. Green stated earlier, we did receive YCSO deputies.
Sad. Look, I didn't know. I mean, wow. I just heard. This is what happens when you hurry up and click on something. I did not know. That caught me off to the guards. For real. Everybody wants to hear about the UFO sighting. I done reported on it a couple of days ago. Here's a uniquely update.
Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is 7 at 7 from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Good evening. I'm Jen Ah. Thanks for joining us on 7 at 7. In Top Stories, sponsored by Nevada Hand Silver Sky Assisted Living Community. Learn more at nevadahand.org. A judge dismisses a lawsuit against a nonprofit group for posting the bail of a felon who, days after his release in 2021, shot a Las Vegas man at a Chinatown restaurant multiple times. Review Journal's Renee Semmerauer has the latest.
Yes, a district court judge ruled Wednesday that the Bail Project, a nonprofit seeking to reduce incarceration rates by helping to bail out low-income people, quote, did not owe a duty to the plaintiff and did not create a situation where it would have been reasonably foreseeable that the assailant, Rashawn Gadsden Anderson, would commit a violent crime. Furthermore, the Bail Project is not a bail agent or bail enforcement agent under the Nevada law because their services are offered gratuitously, and so plaintiffs cannot cite state statutes or bail agents to serve as a basis. The suit was filed in September by Cheng Yang Wang, a waiter, after Wang was shot 11 times by Gadsden Anderson during a holdup of Shanghai Taste on December 20th, 2021. The Bail Project has stopped operating its Las Vegas chapter, but remains active in nearly 24 jurisdictions. Wang claimed in his suit that the group was negligent in failing to consider the potential danger Gadsden Anderson posed to the community.
Now to an embattled animal shelter expected to ask Clark County commissioners for additional funding Tuesday. We previously reported on the Animal Foundation's increased animal intakes. euthanasia rates, and staff dissatisfaction. The nonprofit's initiatives include a pet support call center, filling 6 positions and reducing appointment wait times, and owner surrenders,
There's
which is
so
expected to cost $580
many people I heard that are unfortunately with pets. I'm sorry.
$85,000 a year. And you may soon see faster internet at your school and library thanks to the Middle Mile Broadband Deployment Act, incorporated into the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act signed by President Biden in 2021, which supplies $1 billion nationally, $43 million going to Nevada. The bill's author, Senator Jackie Rosen, says it'll improve internet access to 21,000 community locations. Did a UFO land in Vegas? Some are speculating a bright beam of light plummeting through the dark sky could be extraterrestrial activity near Area 51.
And these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
The alleged UFO was captured on an officer's body cam last month, amassing more than 200,000 views on Las Vegas Police's YouTube channel. NASA says it was actually a meteor, less than a meter in size, that fell through the sky, not a UFO crash landing in someone's yard. However, some remain skeptical.
No, that's not a fun.
In weather, sponsored by Star Nursery, your garden.
They told us that story so fast. It was a meteorite. So that's the end of it. I said it the other day whenever I had that discussion, man, it's going to be hard to tell people that UFOs is real and it's down here. Like, yeah, make that make sense to people, please. Oh, Lord. What is Starbucks losing lawsuit?
If there's one thing the absolute worst elements of our society depend on, maybe more than anything else, it's that the majority of sane people have a lot going on in their lives. You know, they have jobs, families, hobbies. They can't keep track of every big scandal they hear about on television and follow it for years to figure out how it turned out. They don't have the time to do that, even if they wanted to. And that's a boon in particular to the modern media, because they know that they can invent whatever lies they want in order to whip millions of people into a frenzy. By the time the truth comes out, most people will have moved on with their lives. They'll have already voted in whatever election was coming up. They certainly won't demand mass firings of all the editors and reporters who lied to them. Won't even remember their names. And if you doubt that, try to recall, just as an example, who exactly told you that Michael Brown was a good kid who had his hands up yelling, "Don't shoot," when a white supremacist police officer in Ferguson, Missouri shot him for no reason. Can you name any news anchor or journalist specifically who said that? Of course you can. I mean, they all did, but like, what's one particular one? It's impossible to single someone out because the entirety of the corporate media was telling the same lie in unison for 6 months. And then after all that time, and after a wave of deadly riots, the Obama DOJ was forced to admit that actually this good kid was not executed in the middle of the street for no reason. And oh yeah, he didn't have his hands up in surrender either. In reality, he had charge of the police officer, assaulting him and trying to take his gun. And he did that after he roughed up a store owner and stole some cigars. Did any of that extra context matter, though? To this day, college kids still gather in the street yelling, "Hands up, don't shoot," in honor of Michael Brown. It's not just BLM enforcers and Antifa who say that. A lot of normal, everyday people have the same totally inaccurate view of what happened. What's unspoken here, what no one dares to say in the media, regardless of partisan affiliation, is who the actual victims of these charades are. Now, on the right, you'll occasionally hear people talk about, Michael Brown and his crimes and how he wasn't really a victim. But the name Darren Wilson is usually ignored in those conversations. He's the police officer who happens to be white, who spotted Michael Brown walking in the middle of the street nearly a decade ago. He's the cop Michael Brown started punching without any provocation. How's Darren Wilson doing these days? No one seems to know or care. His lawyer said that he had to go into hiding. He could never be a police officer again. There aren't many recent updates on Darren Wilson's life on the internet these days. He's just disappeared. His life was destroyed, and that was that. The term scapegoat comes from the ancient Hebrew practice of casting an actual literal goat out into the wilderness as a symbol of the sins of the people and casting out the sins. We are laying all the sins upon this animal, casting it out. It's an old religious practice that's still carried out today, except in our culture, we find random white people like Darren Wilson to be exiled or destroyed as atonement for white sins specifically. Now, oftentimes the scapegoat is vindicated by the facts later on, but it doesn't really matter because the specific facts were never important to the mob and the people demanding this person's head. It doesn't matter what they did or what they didn't do. It matters what they represent. Maybe you recall this story from a few years back. In the late afternoon, several years ago, I think this is back in 2018, two black men walked into a Starbucks in Philadelphia, and they asked to use the bathroom. But the staff told them that the bathroom is for customers only, and that's a pretty common policy, especially in Philadelphia, because you don't want junkies shooting up in your bathroom. I mean, that's why they have these, that's why they lock the bathroom.
That is so true.
That
is true. That is why.
But the two men didn't buy anything. They just sat down and refused to make a purchase. After that went on for a while, and one of the staff members came up to them, told them they had to make a purchase or leave. Again, it's a reasonable request because Starbucks is not a homeless shelter. Okay, it's not just a lounge, to go hang out in. But the men refused to take either option. So the Starbucks worker called the police. And eventually the police arrived and they did exactly what they're supposed to do. They removed the trespassers. Watch.
Don't get no fight with them. Don't get no fight with them. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, what did they get called for? Because there are two black guys sitting here meeting? Yes, I didn't know black guys. Well, what did they do? What did they do? Did someone tell me what they did?
They didn't do anything. I saw the entire thing.
They didn't. What did they do?
And the woman says for paying customers only after this week. They didn't do
There's a guy in that clip who keeps asking, what did they do? Which, of course, helped the whole incident to go viral. And it went massively viral at the time. After all, if a random guy in the viral video doesn't understand something, then it must be outrageous. But it really wasn't that hard to understand. These two men walked onto private property. They refused to buy anything. And when they were asked to leave, they refused. It's called trespassing, otherwise known as a crime. In a world filled with uncertainties, it's crucial to be ready for whatever comes your way, whether it's a natural disaster, a sudden emergency, or unforeseen circumstances. Having a reliable food storage system can provide you with peace of mind and the assurance that you and your loved ones will be well taken care of. To be pushed into appeasing the administration and raising the debt ceiling for the 79th time, paving the way for continued reckless spending and further devaluation of the dollar. As our national debt continues to skyrocket, how are you protecting your savings? Times like these are a great reminder to diversify a portion of your savings into gold. And you can do that with the help of Birch Gold. They're who I buy my screaming about racism in the Starbucks store where this all went down as they were flooding into the store, and this went on for days.
A whole lot of racism, a whole lot of crime. A whole lot of racism, a whole lot of crime. Starbucks coffee is anti-black. Starbucks coffee is anti-black.
Now, instead of standing up to this insanity, as expected, Starbucks, as expected, they would not stand up to it. I mean, Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson closed all of the company's stores in the US and Canada, like all the stores because of this, for racial bias training. He also declared that bathrooms in Starbucks henceforth would be open to anyone, paying customers or not. Junkies can sit on the toilet and shoot up all they want. Kevin Johnson later went on CNBC to brag about how well he handled the situation. And in the kiss of death, Jim Cramer praised him for it. Watch.
Talk about crisis. Talk about the way you handle it. Because I think when we look back in the textbooks, it's going to be the way you have to handle something that is antithetical to everything you believe in.
Well, first of all, Jim, you got to say that when I saw the video of the two gentlemen who were arrested in our store, it was heartbreaking. But I knew at that moment that, as the CEO of the company, I'm accountable and we've got to show up. I've got to show up. And so getting to Philadelphia, being on the ground and talking to everyone that I could talk to and learn from and understand why this happened, how this could happen, and then take action to ensure that it never happens again. Now, we're proud of the actions we've taken. You know, we closed our stores for the afternoon on May 29th. We did the first round of training every month. We're continuing to drop new training modules to our stores, and it has made us a better company. It has allowed us to actually elevate the customer experience in our stores.
I have to say, from the point of view of seeing a lot of CEOs address an issue, you got in front of it.
Obviously, if Jim Cramer is praising something, it's going to collapse very quickly. And Starbucks' response to this whole episode, which Jim Cramer loved, did just that. About a month after this incident, Starbucks decided to fire an employee named Shannon Phillips. Who is Shannon Phillips? Well, she was a regional manager in charge of 13 Starbucks locations in and around Philadelphia. She was not the store manager in charge of the location where this incident happened. But Shannon Phillips was fired anyway. Why? Well, here's what Shannon Phillips alleged in her lawsuit against Starbucks. She says that the company, quote, took steps to punish white employees who had not been involved in the arrests, but who worked in and around the city of Philadelphia in an effort to convince the community that it had properly responded to the incident. So Starbucks just looked for a white person to fire, is what they did. Phillips said that Starbucks told her to punish a white employee for PR purposes, for just made up reasons. And when Phillips refused, they fired her. They kept the black employee who ran the store at the center of this incident. Like the actual store manager was black, and they kept him, but they canned the regional manager. Now, as you may have heard, Phillips just won a $25 million wrongful termination lawsuit against Starbucks. She proved that they discriminated against her because she's a white person who was offered as a sacrificial victim, just like Darren Wilson, and just like so many others. In her case, she was vindicated. She got some restitution, but that's rarely how these things play out. And by the way, just to put a bow on this whole farce, last year, Starbucks reversed its open-door bathroom policy. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, quote, Starbucks is modifying its open bathroom policy that allows anyone to use the restroom at its stores. Employees now have the option to close bathrooms if there are safety concerns. In other words, actually, Starbucks still doesn't want junkies shooting up in their bathrooms. You know, they allowed it for a few years in order to virtue signal, and they realized that, no, this is actually terrible. This is why we don't want this. Maybe the manager who called the cops 5 years ago was right after all. Who would have thought? That case is notable because it's so rare. You almost never see vindication for the sacrificial lambs in any of these cases. Certainly you don't see restitution. You don't.
That's why I like watching his reports, because he go deep into a situation. Now, you probably would have heard about the Starbucks and a white person winning $25 million, and you would have known nothing. You really wouldn't. Now you get the indications, you get the background. Like, yeah, I like that. That's what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what time it is. I'm not here to hold nobody down. If y'all want a couple of extra hours, you better put in the comments, I'm smoking. Put in the comments right now what you doing late night. Shall we stay up? Shall we chill? Shall we hang out? Shall we vibe? What's up? Let me know. I see some people just stepping up in here. I appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you get that notification. Hit that bell. Oh, I messed up. Hit that bell so you can get more notifications when I do go live. Please, YouTube. I mean, it just helps. It does. There's plenty more stories we can always go over. Plenty more things we can always do. Just let me know what we're getting into. Huh? Hey, what's up, everybody? Like I said, I appreciate. Am I lagging? Let me know if I'm lagging, y'all. Well, y'all ain't gotta know. Y'all probably let me know when y'all leave. Like, I'm up out of here. Do 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 do. If it's late night, where is that? What y'all doing? How your night's going? Is y'all chilling? Is the vibe right? You know what I'm saying? Let me know. I know the next main thing that I am going to be working on for is me and this is going to be more of soundproofing it, getting it more soundproof and ready for sure. Because, oh yeah, it's going to get mighty interesting soon. I feel it coming. I feel stories is going to be hitting the wave real fast. It's just going to be stories after stories after stories after stories. I'm like, whoa. Appreciate somebody just hitting that subscribe button. Somebody just did. I appreciate it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who it is at the moment, but somebody just did. Like, I do appreciate it. I do notice. And I noticed that fast, too. Yeah. I want y'all to see this. See this little story real quick.
Let me show you the best 6U flag football team in the nation. The first time I heard of this team, they won over 60 games in a row versus their age group. 3 months later, I'm at Hard Count, Las Vegas, and I see the drippiest kid in America. Find out it's the same team moved up to 7U for better competition. Now I need to see the 6-year-olds. Look at the spin. Dot. Tiptoe. Ham. Reach for air and grabbed earth. That boy Avatar. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I know they be practicing at recess. That play looks like it works every time. Coach drew the playbook in crayons. Run the pretty blue route, speaking their language. He's dialing up the entire 64-pack. Dot with the pencil sharpener on the side. It's already 14-0. I'm over his shoulder like, shit, they throwing it to him again? Play action, 1-2, just like in the backyard. Buck. We all know his favorite player is, I need your pre-son. Ooh. They should have already passed the sticks because this looking like scrimmage reps. Cut it back on him. Grabbed air. It's 28-0. Rev. Ham, what are you doing? Blow the whistle. Coach just turned around and shook all our hands, so thanks for coming. What the perfect news did I just watch? Let me show you the best 6U flag football team in the nation. The first time I heard of this team,
Bro, I can't wait to see them guys get up in the league and play some real. When I just started getting into the little flag football, watching it. You know what I'm saying? Gotta check out the new prospects that's coming up. You know, we got a football team out here. Shit. I gotta hear this. What? I always mess up, y'all. That's just what I do. What? Nah.
let me show you the best.
I just fucked up the church's money. I want to see that report about Las Vegas having a basketball team 3 days ago. Dang. I'm always messing up. It's crucial. It's crucial. Well, I'm going to get out of here. That's what I'm going to do. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, shit. Because nobody put in the comments. You know, nobody. I mean, y'all still here, though, but y'all sure didn't put in the comments. So I'm going to let y'all go. All right. Peace out.